daily report of the news of the last 24 hours, powered by Yiddish24, provided to you by The Click. Good morning, today is Yid Beis Kislev Tufshin Pai Vov, Tuesday, Parshas Vayishlach, and it's December 2nd, 2025. My name is Gershy Schwarcz and I'm your host, On Edge. On Edge News gives you what you need to know. The last 24 hours of news of the world. You're curious, you want to know what's going on, but you need to be able to go on with your day and not check your phone and your browser every 5 minutes and distract yourself from what you're doing, learning, working, whatever it is that you're doing. If your friends don't know about it, your family doesn't know about it, tell them about On Edge. It's a great platform, been around for the last more than a half year already, providing news in Yiddish, on Yiddish24 specifically, well, exclusively I would say, and on Kol Mevaser, 118 from the main menu, or 112 from Hakol Bakol section of the main menu. Anyway, my point is that this is On Edge. For those of you who don't know about it, again, you can tell your friends, and also you should call me 845-671-1775. Press 5 to leave a message if you have an opinion or feedback to tell me, because this helps me. Thank you so much. I appreciate it again. And yes, you can always sponsor, so you can call again the same number or email us at onedgenews@gmail.com, and you'll get a good deal to advertise yourself here. Again, 60,000 people a day, not a joke. So people tune in every single day. I get feedback, I get comments. But again, I want to hear more. Now the English one is a new one, so you know how it goes. So anyway, I need to know if the English one works. If it doesn't work, then if you tell me that you don't like it, I will stop doing it. If you tell me you do like it, I will continue doing it, okay? And I wake up in the morning after a wedding of Yosef Dov Fulop, my friend, and Putin says Europe will get a war if it wants one, adding that Russia is ready for one now. It looks like the guy's been stuck in a war for the last 3 years, only seeing death, and that's all he wants to see. He doesn't want to see the sunshine again. Speaking of wars, it looks like the United States is very close to a full-blown war with W first and then V, with Venezuela. According to reports, back in September, American forces struck a boat and then fired a second missile, specifically to kill the last 2 survivors who were floating in the water. 11 people were killed that day in what the White House calls a necessary strike against drug smugglers. But, obviously, Pete Hegseth is facing a lot of criticism for this. The American military is ready for an invasion-level force right near Venezuela. There are aircraft carriers, submarines, and thousands of troops deploying to the Caribbean in a massive build-up. Officially, this is Operation Southern Spear, which is supposed to stop fentanyl and gangs like Tren de Aragua from entering the United States. But the real goal looks like removing the dictator Nicolas Maduro, and he is already mobilizing his army to fight back. Protobite, don't fight all these subscriptions every single time, and why am I paying this, why am I paying that? Don't just relieve yourself from these headaches by calling Protobite 347-354-1237. What they do is web and app development. That's what they do, 347-354-1237. The White House is in Moscow right now. President Putin is sitting down this afternoon with U.S. envoy, the Jewish businessman Steve Witkoff, and Trump's Jewish son-in-law, Jared Kushner, to figure out the deal to end the war, finally, in Ukraine. As if this didn't happen like deja vu every single time we report something like this. They were sitting down, they're talking, and then again, sitting down, talking. How it's been going on for the last 3 years. They are discussing a new, well, not 3 years, really, last year, since Trump entered the office. They are discussing a new peace framework that could freeze the fighting, but Putin has already warned he won't stop his army's advance unless his, like I'm underlining the word, his conditions are met. And I don't know if you noticed, but I did say a new peace framework. I didn't say the peace framework. It's been at 21 points, like Chof Aleph, and then it's been at Yites 19, and now it's at that, I don't know what number. Anyway, the point is that this has been going on for too long, my friends, right? So starting Wednesday, the Russian president is going to New Delhi tomorrow, to India, to push a massive deal on oil, missile systems, defense systems, and fighter jets. He's looking to buy more S-400 air defense systems and possibly Su-57 stealth fighter jets. Those are, I'll tell you what an air defense system is. It defends missiles and bombs flying from the air into Russia. Air defense systems, and the Su-57 stealth fighter jets are quiet fighter jets. Stealth, right? Okay, even though the Americans are sanctioning anyone helping Russia buy weapons. Let's see what happens to India now. Sudan has offered Moscow a 25-year deal to build its first naval base in Africa. The agreement lets Russia park nuclear-powered warships and stationed 300 troops at Port Sudan, right on one of the world's most critical shipping lanes. In exchange, Sudan's military gets advanced Russian weapons to fight their own civil war, giving Putin a permanent place in waters that the West used to control. Trump is not too happy about that, obviously. 2 Israeli soldiers were stabbed this morning, Tuesday morning, near Ateret in northern Shomron. The 18-year-old terrorist pulled a knife during a routine check. Soldiers shot and killed him on the spot. A few hours earlier, near Hebron, a terrorist rammed his car into a group of soldiers at Yehuda Junction, injuring one of them. He fled, but troops tracked him down, inside the same car in Hebron. When they tried to arrest him, he tried to stab them too. They shot and killed him as well. The terrorists were both teenagers, one 18 and the other 17. All 3 injured soldiers are Baruch Hashem in stable condition, but keep on davening for their full recovery. Jewish people. Obviously the headlines are like, Israelis killed children, Palestinian children in the West Bank. Israel received remains transferred from Gaza by the International Committee of the Red Cross. The remains were sent for formal identification and testing. The remains were believed to be those of one of the last 2 missing hostages held in Gaza. Israeli officer, police officer Ran Gvili, and the Thai national Sudisak Rintalak, both kidnapped during the October 7th, 2023 attack. But reports came in now that they were not. They were a different person. They were not the hostages. Let's see what happens now. For many weeks, there were rumors that something was wrong with the president because he had an MRI, and the White House did not comment that it was for or what the results were. Yesterday, however, the White House doctors said the imaging was done purely for preventative reasons to check his heart and abdomen. The results, like Trump said, an MRI that they've never seen, an MRI like they've never seen before. Or like he said, the doctor, perfectly normal. Let's talk about what's perfectly normal. When your business runs and operates well, it's normal, everything's normal. But wouldn't you want to see your business thrive and grow? Yes, your business brings in, let's say, 200,000 a year. Great, very good. Support your family. 300,000 a year, 400,000 a year. Great, support your family. But what if your business could make twice or triple or 4 times that amount, and you know that you have the potential, but you just don't know how to develop that? Well, you need a business guide, a business consultant. Yes, David Wanounou. Reb David Wanounou sees the bigger picture for your business. The Trepper Plan. Get in touch with him. Reb David told me that he told me, I don't know what you're doing to him, Gershy. You advertised me on this your platform of yours. I got so many calls, I can't begin to describe how many of them. Like I had to turn down a few of them. I couldn't take everyone on, obviously. 845-414-8100, and I'm still advertising him here. So thank you all for calling him. It's great. It's great. It just goes to show that, yes, the program is getting a lot of feedback and a lot of attention, Baruch Hashem. So spread the news, spread on edge. A potential massacre was stopped, Baruch Hashem, just in time in Paris. 2 16-year-old boys have been charged with planning a deadly ISIS-inspired attack on Jewish targets in Paris. Police say one of them sent a photo of himself holding a knife and wrote that he was going to kill Jews in 5 days. Investigators say the pair were actively looking for a synagogue or other Jewish place of worship to attack when they were arrested. One suspect is a Chechen teen who came to France with his mother 4 years ago and was influenced by Islamic State propaganda. French authorities say they have already indicted 20 minors, children, for terrorism offenses in 2025 alone, more than all of the last year, 2024. Starting February 1st, 2026, travelers who show up to the airport without a real ID in America, for those of you who know what it means, on your license you have like a little real ID or passport, will be charged a $45 fee, a fine I would say, just to get through security. The TSA says this new confirm ID buys you a 10-day pass to travel if you don't have the right documents. If your license doesn't have the star in the corner of your license and you refuse to pay the fine, you will not be allowed to board your plane, basically. President Trump says he has chosen his next Federal Reserve chair instead of Jerome Powell. A pivotal pick this coming May. A pivotal pick as the cost of living squeeze tightens for Americans. And he says, I know who I am going to pick. Didn't say who, but he says, I know. Well, Mr. President, we're waiting patiently. Chuck Schumer says, well, you know that Andrew Cuomo, the one who ran for mayor against Mamdani, says he's running for Chuck Schumer's seat. Chuck Schumer says 3 of his New York offices got bomb threats on Monday, yesterday. The threats were emailed to his staff with the subject line MAGA. And the sender wrote that the 2020 elections were rigged. Police and federal agents swept all 3 offices. Nothing dangerous was found. Schumer said, everyone is safe, and thanked law enforcement for acting fast. He also said threats of violence have no place in our political system, period. He's right, because in LA, a person was arrested for throwing 2 Molotov cocktails into a federal Gebäude. In Yiddish, that means a building. Rabbi Isai, there is a special election today in Tennessee. Voters in Tennessee are choosing a new American representative, U.S. representative today for the House in a special election. The seat opened after Republican Mark Green resigned. For those of you who remember, the outcome could impact the House of Representatives, where every seat matters, coming up now to the midterm elections. Costco is taking President Trump to court. The retail giant has filed a major lawsuit demanding a full refund of the tariffs they were forced to pay on imported goods. Costco claims the president used his emergency powers illegally to slap taxes on products coming in from countries like China and Mexico. They are arguing that if the Supreme Court eventually rules against these tariffs, the government should have to write them a check for every last penny that they spent. Lawyers for Costco say they had to sue right now to beat a December 15th deadline. Otherwise, the money could be gone forever, even if they win the case. Now, what happens to the customers? Do they get a chunk of that check that they paid? I mean, extra money for the tariffs, yeah? Now, for all singers and composers, producers who make music, here is news for you. $1 billion fight over online piracy has reached the U.S. Supreme Court. Cox Communications is asking to throw out a huge verdict that said the company looked the other way while customers downloaded and shared music, copyrighted music illegally. The big question is simple. How responsible is an internet provider when people use its network to break the law? If the court sides with Sony and other music companies, providers may have to shut down customers' internet over piracy complaints. If Cox wins, it will be harder for the music industry to force the internet companies to police users or cut them off for illegal downloading. Sponsor, Arrive Express. Arrive Taxi, the taxi company, your reliable taxi in the upstate region of New York. 845-622-1111. That's from Muncie. 845-254-1111 when you're upstate in Monroe. YS Capital Group, 718-831-2168. If you want to get a loan for an investment, you want to borrow some money, 718-831-2168. You get a no closing doc loan. Shawarma Delight, 26 Spring Valley Marketplace. Call 845-272-0011 or sdny.store. Mention On Edge to get a free drink. That's Shawarma Delight. Historic facts of the day. On Edge, brought to you by The Click. Today is the 6th Yartzeitof of the JC Kedoshim, the Jersey City Kedoshim. Mrs. Bas Yelea Mindel Bas Rebbe Newman Tzvi Greenfeld. Her name is, she's known as Mindy Ferenc Oleo Shulam, and Habuche Moshe Tzvi Ben Rabbi Avrum Shulam Aaron Deitch, Moshe Deitch, Olav Shulam. Hashem Yinkam Dumam. What happened that day 6 years ago? Today on Yid Bais Kislev Tufshim Pai, a terror attack struck the Jewish community in Jersey City. 2 black Hebrews, murderers, fueled by anti-Semitic hate, first killed a detective at a nearby cemetery, then drove a stolen U-Haul truck into the Jewish neighborhood of Greenville in Jersey City. They parked right outside the kosher grocery store owned by the Ferenc family and opened fire almost immediately. Mrs. Ferenc, Olea Shulam, was behind the counter in her own store, JC Kosher Supermarket, helping customers like she always did every single day. And she was gunned down. Moshe Deitch, just 24-year-old, had come to the shop and support the new kosher store. A bucher known for chesed, always smiling, always helping, always involved, helping others. He was gunned down while doing a mitzvah, supporting another year's parnusa. The police detective that was killed, his name was Gabriel Douglas Rodriguez. There's a picture of him. Being that Kislev is a chodesh of Nisim, the attackers, filled with anti-Semitic hate, planned something far worse. Next door was a cheder with about 50 children, and that was the original target that they had planned. But they tried to get in. The door stayed locked. A nes gudel hoyer sham. In the middle of the darkness, Baruch Hashem, there was a nes. Yes. But we have to remember the holy neshamas, may they have an aliyah. Yehei zichron buruch. And never forget. Today is the Yartzeit of the Marshal, Rav Shlomo ben Rabbi Chia Luria Ashkenazi. That is neshama be an aliyah for all of us, and be a medetziyosha, the Marshal. Also, today, in the year 1840, a deadly plague, a Magaifa, struck the city of Tzfas, when Rabbi Avrum Dov of Avrich, known as the author of the Sefer Bas Ayin, became sick. He announced that he would be the last victim of the Magaifa, and that his death would bring an atonement for the entire city. He passed away, Taka, on this day, Yid Bais Kislev, and the plague, the Magaifa, stopped immediately, just as he had said. Rabbi Avrum Dov is famous for his Sefer Bas Ayin. A lot of people make Sidus in his name, and Yartzeit in his name. I make a big deal about his Yartzeit, go to his keva, daven. There's major segulas, major things promised on that day, on this day, for those people, those of you who daven in his neshama, light a candle in his neshama. Yes, he's a classic. It's a classic Hasidic Sefer Bas Ayin based on the Chernobyl school of thought in English. He wrote it while still in Ukraine, but he refused to print it until he could review and edit it again in Eretz Yisrael. With that, my friends, I have finished today's news segment, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Thank you for staying on edge and stay informed, and we'll see you tomorrow, Mr. Mizrach.
Your daily report of the news of the last 24 hours, powered by Yiddish24, provided to you by The Click.